Should we do an intro?
Yes. This
Hello.
is a podcast.
And welcome back again after yet another large time gap that we cannot stop
To
doing.
the 4 people who are still listening.
Oh my God,
to
we
this.
love you guys. To Family Jewels, that's what this is.
Yeah, get the name of the podcast in. That's really good.
We remember it, and that's what's important.
These microphones are definitely connected to a recording device of some kind. I have been assured.
Look, it's the enthusiasm in the moment that matters. It's the intensity, not the regularity.
And ultimately, what I want is to have a deep and meaningful conversation with my friend James here. And if a podcasting is the sort of excuse I need to give him, fine.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
is a
That is what
podcast.
it's become.
I
A way
would-
to just trick people.
Never have come for a conversation.
God,
Otherwise,
no.
no way. You want to have a chat? No, absolutely not.
Here we are. Anyway, James Trickey is our guest. Woo!
Yeah.
Welcome, James Trickey.
Normally we say like what you are up top. Like, do we say you're a comedian? And you're a writer, you're an actor. I wasn't going to go hard in with accountant.
I thought you meant like racially.
And if you want, you can set
Is
that up.
not the theme of the? Okay.
Yeah,
Accountant. Like this first
First.
and foremost. Yeah. Comedian, actor,
Yeah.
podcaster. Let's put that in there.
Lover?
To some,
Fighter.
to none.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's
Actually,
gorgeous.
apart from the oppressive, the top rich, those.
We're standing up to them, are we?
Yeah.
Those guys?
Yeah, those people that I do their accounts. It's them. They're-
I'm with you. Whoever you're against, I'm against too.
yeah, they suck. The man. Stick it to the man.
To that man.
Are you sort of doing some creative accounting?
No.
Do you know how to do creative accounting?
I unsure if I should admit to knowing how. I think I know how so that I can look out for it.
Okay, so when we talk
okay,
about creative
okay,
accounting,
okay.
most
Okay.
often, sorry, this is not the topic of the podcast, but I think our listeners would love to know.
They would.
When it comes to creative accounting, is it mostly people spending money on stuff that's personal and pretending it's for the company? Or is it the thing from like Office Space where there's like they're collecting pennies on $1 and then because it happens so many times it's $1 million?
So-
That's how that works.
So
That sounds like money stuff to me.
Like rounding up. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah. Rounding up. That's a thing.
That's creative accounting.
People
People are
round up.
rounding.
Yeah, I've heard people round. You know, that's the thing. No, so what you just described, like people just like spending money on personal stuff and then
Yeah.
putting it through. That's just fraud.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me.
That's just full on fraud.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain actually.
Okay,
yeah.
so what's the difference between creative accounting and fraud?
So creative accounting normally is a way of so interesting, so sick. It's like reclassifying business expenditure in a certain way that you can use it as like a tax
Yeah.
deduction.
Yeah.
But it's
You're not
like,
breaking any rules.
No, so it's like basically it's like you can write stuff off as research and development.
Yeah.
Like so, and that is
She knows.
That comes
I've never heard of this.
that
ever
comes
in my
across
life.
as like a tax benefit, like if you can prove that you were working towards something.
Okay.
Or if you like classify something as like if it has like a long life and you can split the cost up on it of it over like a period of time,
Yeah.
so that you don't feel the brunt of it all at once.
Okay, so for example, if I own a coffee shop, what would be like a very creative way for me to research and develop something personal?
Personal, yeah. So
like
that's
like a programming course, and I could be like, I use this programming
build a
course
website.
to build a website for my
For your coffee shop.
yeah. That I think that could probably fly.
Oof,
Yeah. if the business can justify it
Okay.
as like
not too shabby.
as
Are
like
we
a
all
thing.
going on a web dev course?
In Turks and Caicos.
Every time I try to ask my accountant any question about money,
Yeah.
they come back to me with a tone that's like, why bother? Like, it's obviously that I, an idiot, am asking a question that is pointless for them to answer. And yet we do the dance.
Yeah, you've
And
got
then
to.
here we are, chatting to James Trickey.
What can I say? That's why I come on to these things, you know, to teach people about how to account properly.
Yeah, that's what we've heard about you. Well, let's delve into the other portion of your life. You're a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, try to be.
Do you think are you the only working accountant stand-up? I didn't know
stand-up.
how to get to the end of that sentence. Are you
Again.
the only accountant stand-up?
No, I think everyone else is just too afraid to admit it. You know what I mean?
Oh, you think you think there are other accountants going out and doing stand-up, but you don't know about it, or there are stand-ups who are secretly accountants?
Other way around. Accountants who are
You don't
doing
think James
stand-up.
Acaster is secretly an accountant?
No. I don't think he moonlights as an accountant. Like he's like, no one can know. I can't let any of the comedians know that I'm doing accountancy because that's what I'm at. Like at my job.
I was
Like,
going to say, does your job know?
no, this current job. No, they don't know, and I don't want.
And
them
no
to.
one's told on you?
Well, no one knows.
How do they? No one follows you on any kind of social media?
No, they don't.
Do you have no work friends?
I have work friends. Okay, so my work is the people who make. I'm quite young in the company. I'm like one of the like 5 to 10 youngest people in the company, and everyone
Brag.
else, hell yeah, no one else uses social media to any kind of degree.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, you're safe then.
Yeah, and they don't care. So like they all none of the there's like a group of 3 people I know who hang out after work sometimes, like some of the engineers, and then the other like some of the salespeople will go for drinks, but none of them. I like keep quite a low profile. I try to.
As opposed to your flamboyant self outside of work.
Yeah. Where I'm like on the street, just like.
So when they're
screaming
like,
my
"What are
name.
you doing this evening?"
I almost always say seeing friends. Almost always.
The audience is my friends.
Or birthday. I often say birthday a lot. They're like, "What you got up to this weekend?" I'm just like, got a birthday.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So they think you're the most popular man in the world.
They think I have an unbelievable amount of friends who all have birthdays, quite regularly spaced throughout the year.
That being said, for a comedian, you are quite a social guy. I feel like you have a friend group in a way that other stand-up comics simply do not. No offense to
or
any of them.
accountants, I will say.
Yeah. Way
well,
to
thank
break them
you.
old, buddy.
Well, what can I say? A bit of both. Be the most sociable accountant.
He'll turn up to a birthday party, any birthday party, because
I will.
just to keep the lie alive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't feel. No one's like pulling me up on that though. Like
They're not asking you for details afterwards.
Yeah,
They're like,
no
what
one's
was the
like,
theme?
well, let's see.
Well, to be
let's see the
fair to
pictures.
them, they're not like, I think he's lying. I think he's secretly a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. There was one guy who I thought might have had an inkling because he kind of made a joke and then looked my way in a way that was like, "Do you think that's any good?" And I was like,
Can he tell us a rule of 3?
What if he's moonlighting as a comedian as well?
well, I probably would have bumped into him at this point, right? Well, someone would have done.
Oh,
Ships in the
man.
night. You could just both be.
But disappear on a gig. That'd be
Running
crazy.
into each other at a BBC New Comedian of the Year heat is the new running into your boss at a sex party.
Yeah, that'd be horrific.
Mutually
Really.
assured destruction.
You're like,
never
we
speak of this
cannot
again."
tell anyone. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say accounting and/or comedy is in your blood? Segue.
Wow. That's really cool. I would say accounting. A distant cousin is an accountant. I think. I would say.
Oh, wait, a distant cousin of your age or much older?
Much older. Much older.
So you knew about them accounting when you were a child. You heard tale.
Well, I don't think that was like the thing they led with. It wasn't like you're gonna go meet Auntie Judy and she's an accountant.
You're not a nepo accountant.
No.
Okay.
I worked.
Here to dispel the rumors.
Yeah. I worked hard for this accountancy job of my own back.
Okay.
My dad did not accountancy.
What did he do?
It's a hell of a question. He has lived a long life, and I don't know all the details, is what I will say.
Ooh.
There are some jobs which I do know of, and some jobs which I don't. His first job was at Thomas Cook. He wanted to travel.
The travel agent.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
travel
That's
agents.
cool.
He wanted to travel.
Did he get like free holidays from them?
No. He basically
Discounts?
this is in like the 60s or like
How
the
old's
late.
your dad?
Dad currently is 84.
Yeah, fine. So it could have been the 60s.
Well, it was the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Checks out.
He was born. So wait, yeah, born in 1940. Had me when he was 57.
Oh my god.
You're an old dad, baby.
Old dad baby. That's it.
God.
And so he got his first job, Thomas Cook, handwriting tickets
Cute.
for people who wanted to like get on boats and shit.
Does he have
Crazy.
other kids?
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So this is we'll just get into this, I guess. This is what the
That's what
podcast,
the podcast's
is.
for.
Yeah. So dad's really old. He 84. Had me at 57. I found out when I was 19. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but when I was 19, he basically was like, "Oh yeah, I was married before I met your mum for 25 years," and I was like, "Oh."
That's a long marriage.
That's
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
life.
So
Is
like,
that older than you?
I'm 27 now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but at the time, it was like, "Oh, you've been married to someone else for longer than you've been married to my mum currently."
Yeah.
Like that's kind of mad. And I was like, I've never heard anything about this lady. And my mum was like, yeah, we didn't tell you because there were no other kids. So, like, you didn't have any half siblings to meet or anything.
So no one else was going to dub us in, so we didn't have to.
Well, actually, my dad, it was like I remember it. It was like a barbecue in the summer. I was 19 and my dad like revealed this. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? And he literally said, well, you never asked.
No, he did not hit you.
Yeah, and I was like,
wow,
what do you mean? Like, never asked, were you married for 25 years before you met my mum? Like, I don't know what I could have asked.
In the meeting where you are going to be fired as an accountant and your boss will say, why didn't you tell us you're a comedian? You're going to say, well, you never asked.
Yeah, that is what
And
I'm
in the
gonna
movie,
say.
those scenes will play concurrently.
Yeah,
Continue.
Yeah. And it will be like a horrible flashback for me, yeah.
Wait, so you were at a barbecue?
We were having a barbecue
Just
in
the three of
summer.
you then?
Just me, my mum and my dad.
You're just eating dinner.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what that is. We only get a barbecue once every 2 years.
Okay, nice. But it was a special evening. You were barbecuing. The three
Yeah.
of you were hanging out, and then how did it come up?
Oh, yeah, I'm not even entirely sure. I just remember the like reveal and being like, what? And I was quite shocked that he'd had this whole other life, which is like crazy because obviously he'd been alive for 55 years before having me. Like, crazy to assume he was single that whole time.
Yeah.
In fairness.
Disrespectful of him not to
Yeah.
have been, but continue.
And then so then he just kind of like put that out there, and I was just like, oh, what the hell? And then the next day, I was like driving my mum to the station or something, and I was talking to her about it, and she was like, yeah, well, we didn't tell you because you didn't have any half siblings or anything. I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And she was like, yeah, you know, your dad didn't want kids. And I was like,
Oh my god!
All right.
and I was
So
like,
that's 2 days of you just being punched in the face with facts.
yeah, and I was like, it tracks. Like, that makes sense because he hasn't had one in all this time.
Yeah.
But my mum was very much like, she was like, no, but I was like, I'm gonna have a kid, so this, like Spice Girls, if you want to be my lover,
Yeah.
you gotta
And
have
he
at least
did.
one kid.
I also love the attitude of like, oh, I'm having a baby.
Yeah.
And it's like, it has nothing really to do with you, but there's just going to be a kid in the house.
Yeah. It could be yours.
You might see a guy around. Don't worry about him.
Yeah. We've got someone moving in.
How do you feel about crying?
Just some dweeb, you know, it'll be all right. And so my mum said this. She was like, yeah, so your dad never really wanted kids. But he really likes you, so it turned out quite well.
Something then.
I was like, oh, he does like me. That's pretty sick. Yeah, great. Because I will say I thought he was a very good dad. He still is. He's alive.
Yeah, but he did his primary dadding while you were a child, and people can still be a good dad now, but you're an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah.
like
No,
there's
fine,
less call for the
yeah.
the dadding to happen.
But because he was so old, he retired at like 65 when I was 7, 8.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, so he'd be at home when you came back from school and
Well,
stuff.
he picked me up. It was him.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What were your shared interests?
Okay, well, shared interests, I'm not sure as much as he enforced his interests upon
Okay.
me. So, like, we used to live next door to a pub. And so...
Drinking.
So
AJ?
he would pick me up. So my mum used to work at my primary school as the there's like after school clubs for kids whose parents can't pick them up on time.
Yeah.
So like primary school, like she would be the ones like running those.
Wait, but you weren't staying.
So I used to. When my dad was working, I would stay.
Yeah.
And then when he retired, he was like, "I'll just pick him up and take him home." Because I was like, "This sucks."
And then your mum was just at after school
Yeah, she
club.
was at after school
but
club
you
working, and I would
need to
go
be at
home.
after
So
school
you and your
club.
mum
Well,
like
'cause
ships
I
in the
moved school.
night.
Yeah. So I moved school, and then she was working at the school club at the other school.
Okay.
My dad would pick me up, fine, and then he would pick me up from school, walk me home. So he walked me to and from school, but on the way home, he would walk me just straight into the pub.
Yeah, fine.
at
It was on the
3:30.
way.
Yeah.
Is that legal?
It was legal for me to be in there. I couldn't
Okay.
be at the bar.
Okay.
And I couldn't
Oh, this is
drink.
the first episode of In-Betweeners. That's what that deals with.
Yeah.
Would you sit outside or would you sit inside?
We would sit inside and play darts.
Oh,
Quite sweet.
Yeah.
that's really
What was your
cute.
order? What would you drink?
I would have like a pint of Coke and and a bag of scampi fries.
Yeah.
That's what I would
Okay,
Yeah.
dad of the year.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a million questions. First and foremost, have you ever met the first wife? What's she
No.
up to? Have you
I-
like LinkedIn her?
No, I don't know her last name. All I know is her first name is Carol.
All right, Carol.
And her older brother reached out to my dad sometime earlier this year for the first time since they got divorced and was like, "Hi, Pete." That's my dad's name.
That checks
Reveal.
out.
yeah. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I've just moved back to the UK. Would be cool to get a drink. I've heard you've got a son.
Oh, you're invited.
He was
He
like,
plays
if you want
darts and he's a legend.
he was like, if you want to bring him along, you can. And my dad was
Scampy
like,
fries on me.
yeah. And my dad was like, he extended the invitation to me. He was like, do you want to meet this man? Because I don't think you have to. And I was like, I'd actually rather not.
Were they friends? They must have been
I presume
friends.
so. Yeah.
Did he go and meet him?
He did go. He did go and have a drink. I think the other guy was also super old. So just
Yeah,
like,
fine. You don't need to.
yeah, like who's the other old man I know in this country I can just speak to and have a drink with. But I've never met Carol. I think that's her name. I have no desire to
Okay,
meet
fair.
Carol
Yeah, you truly are not related to Carol
in any way.
in any way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what would you guys even talk about?
Exactly.
I guess
How
only
she
that
broke
she.
my dad's heart.
Yeah, she like knew your dad
Yeah, she knew
when he
him
was young.
for like a while.
Yeah, I don't think. But anyway, did she break? She broke his heart.
Well, okay, so the story that I get from his side
Yeah, let's hear it.
is that she was the high flyer. So she would go out. She was like big in like some like financial company. She was like earning the big bucks, like 2 houses, and he was just kind of like there for the ride, having a good time. And she just like lost interest in him.
After 25
20
years.
Well, I
years.
imagine back in the day, she lost interest like,
Okay, after like 6 years.
and they
then...
made it like work or whatever, or just like kind of like kept it together for,
It's
for vibes.
crazy
Okay,
that
let me do
that's
the
like
math on
someone's
this.
whole. Please, go on.
So, is this interesting to you? Is this okay that we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
this? So, born in 1940,
Yeah,
married her in 1970,
would have been, yeah.
with her until 95.
Okay, there's actually a touch of crossover.
Well,
between-
well.
I think that's what we
The
were getting
divor-
towards.
the divorce was in motion when
Okay.
he met my mum. That's the story.
Okay,
This is what
Okay,
I've
so
heard.
how
and
did you
we're
meet your
all
mom?
sticking to it.
Yeah. He met my mum. So my mum is Cambodian. That's where she was living,
Cool.
as is her right. And he was over there. He was working for the civil service at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Civil service? UN? Might have been working for the UN
Ooh.
at that point.
Wait,
he'd
how do you go
gone
from
I was
Thomas
gonna
Cook
say,
to the
travel
UN?
to.
The civil service is in there for like 20 odd years.
Okay.
Department of Trade he was in.
Because he like knew about international
I guess.
travel,
Well,
and then
again-
Because
he...
back in the day, they were just like, what's the capital of
Yeah.
France? You're
Like,
hired.
you're in.
Sorry,
yes.
I have no idea.
So he was in Cambodia for what reason?
He was helping set up like a computer system.
Great.
And he was part of the like putting together the first democratic election in Cambodia, or like assisting with it behind the scenes. kind
That's
of type thing.
crazy.
That's huge.
Which was kind of cool. I mean, it wasn't democratic.
Sure.
We'll get back. Yeah, but
Most elections are.
yeah. But while he was out there, my mum was in, I believe, working in the hotel that he was staying at.
Hello.
Is what I understand.
Hello. Just a man getting divorced
Yeah, literally, yeah.
in Cambodia for the election. Anything can happen.
For the election. Are we all going to Cambodia for the election? Have you got your tickets?
She's simply in the hotel.
Is what I've
A
heard.
tale as old as time.
But it's crazy because she didn't speak English and he didn't speak Cambodian. So I don't know.
So they just like saw each other across the room.
Well, yeah. But I mean, I presume he did something along the lines of like one of them old white man winks. You know, them ones where the guy's just like,
Yeah.
I've had it at work. You know, a dude will say something borderline offensive and they just be like, and I'm like, whoa.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
The charisma wins out.
It's crazy. Yeah.
The old
It's
white
like-
man riz.
It's just nuts. Yeah.
I fundamentally think that everyone falling in love is just projecting what you want onto another person, and as long as they are a willing canvas, everything is going to be okay. And I feel like when you don't speak each other's languages, it's so
Yeah.
easy to project whatever it is that you want on the other
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I
Completely.
think you just called me beautiful.
Yeah.
Do we get on amazingly? Do you remember when I went out on like 4 dates with this dude once, and then at the end of it, I was like, I don't think we should see each other anymore. And he was like, oh my God, but we have such a good time. Like, we're laughing so much or something. And then I was like, I mean, I'm funny and you didn't say anything. So like, yeah, good. I'm sure you are.
We're laughing so much. You're making me laugh.
Yeah,
So-
you have not contributed to the situation at all, which is why this is ending.
Yeah, so I don't know. I assume there must have been some kind of back and forth because he was going back out there for like, He was like, they were like chirping for like 2 years.
Oh wow! So like post-election, he's still like, oh, I forgot a
Yeah,
sock.
yeah.
or
He was like,
whatever.
yeah. So it
I
wasn't
just love
like,
that hotel.
because
Yeah.
my first impression was that like, oh, it was just like bang, immediate, like, let's go. But it wasn't. It
That
was
would
like,
be kind of crazy.
yeah. He was like flying back out
But
there.
also 2 years of traveling to Cambodia, like now going to Cambodia is like quite a commitment.
Well, I feel like a year of that was work. So like he was going, and then for a year after he was like continuing to go, and then my mum got pregnant, and I think that was agreed upon because she wanted a kid.
Yeah.
So
Famously.
that's what was happening. And
May I ask what their age difference is?
25 years. So he was 57, she was 32.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It's time.
Well, actually, this is another thing. That's a guess
What? Excuse me?
because we don't know how old my mum specifically is.
Because she won't tell you.
She doesn't know. They didn't do birthdays in Cambodia when she was born. And with the whole like
Yeah.
Khmer Rouge genocide thing, a lot of stuff got
So
lost.
what's the guess based on?
The Year of the Dragon?
Okay, so you can narrow it down to like
We
in a
think
cycle.
it's around in the 12 years. We think
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
either
there.
gonna be.
Yeah. So she was like, I'm pretty sure I'm 60 this year. And we're like, okay.
Wait, that's crazy.
We'll run with that. That's fine. So 24 years technically, but her passport is like we kind of just picked a
I kind
date.
of love that. Age is just a vibe.
Yeah.
That's true. When she would have.
I love the idea. It's like I feel like a Libra.
Yeah.
I
literally
could
what
be
she did.
60.
She was like, she'd always be like, I know I'm a dragon. Like I know I am.
Either I'm like an amazing for 72, or like very bad for 48.
Yeah, that's literally how it went.
So had she had a passport before she presumably?
Well, I don't want to rat her out,
Yeah,
but the whole getting her to England was
this is what I want to know about.
super dodgy.
Are you okay talking about this on the podcast?
Well, yeah,
because
I think
that
so.
fucking rocks.
I think the like she's a citizen now, so it's
Okay.
what are they gonna
Great, yeah,
what
fine,
are they gonna
God,
do?
then.
Yeah. It's this the case is closed.
Yeah.
The statute of limitations is done. I think.
Surely.
Yeah. So she was pregnant, and my dad was like, I don't think we should have this baby here because this is like I don't want to move to Cambodia, and also I think there's probably more for him in England, which is fair enough. I think she was also happy to leave because bit of a shit time there.
Yeah, exciting to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
for a
excited
bit.
to move. And so basically it got to the point where she was like so pregnant, like, and my dad was like, we got to get her out, and like he went to a doctor, and it was like, can we get a note that she's able to fly because she's quite pregnant, and the doctor was like, for a price.
Oh,
It's called creative medicine.
And my dad was like, picking up what you're putting down, and they got the note, and then they got to Thailand, and then on the way back from the flight from Thailand to the UK, someone picked up on the fact that my mum was like super pregnant on board, and was like, you're pregnant, and my dad was like, fuck, we're screwed here. This is.
Is it illegal to?
when you're over a certain?
yeah. I
It's
think
really
even
illegal?
now, well, I don't know if it's like illegal, but it would be like policy that you wouldn't be, because also people are worried about, like in America, they're worried about you flying to America to give birth because they used to like give you citizenship if you were born there. So they were on the plane.
On the plane, and the flight attendant was like, you're pregnant. And
Yeah.
my dad was like, oh no. And then the flight attendant just like threw caution to the wind, was like, this calls for champagne. And my dad,
Like, woo, woo, woo.
my dad was like, okay, works for me. And so then they landed in the UK. A week later, they got married, and a week later, I was born.
That's traumatic.
Yeah. So it was like super like.
That's scary for her, do you think?
Yeah, I can't imagine, because also at the time my dad was living in Dover.
Oh no.
Yeah.
From Cambodia to Dover.
Can you imagine? The White Cliffs.
From a tropical paradise
Yeah, these are nice.
to what the
Alright.
highest suicide rate in the UK.
Yeah, love and respect to Dover. It's shit. I don't like that place. But I was born there, and my dad was at the time like he'd got a job in because he'd left. The election had happened. He
Yeah.
got a new job, and he was working in Uxbridge.
Yeah.
And back in the day when work from home didn't exist, he was commuting every day.
Oh my god.
So-
How long is a trip from Dover to?
2.5 drive.
What? So what was
Yeah.
she just doing by herself?
She couldn't speak English with a newborn in the fucking
Oh my
middle
God,
of
that's
nowhere in
so
Dover.
intense.
Just like we had like one neighbor called Ian, who was really nice.
Well, that's
Like
nice.
almost like a adopted granddad in a way.
You can't imagine there's like much of a Cambodian expat community in Dover, but
Not,
maybe.
not in 97, I don't think.
Maybe now it's
yeah.
more of a hotspot. They're like, we heard people were going to Dover. It's the spot.
So yeah, she had a pretty...
She lands in the epicenter of New Labor. Can we just point out?
Yeah.
And she's in New Labour straight away.
Wow, that's great. That's really great.
Bada-boom-cha.
So I think that those first couple of years must have been like hard for her.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or for both of them. Like he was driving like 5-hour round trip every
and that
day.
sucks too.
Yeah. Obviously having the babies like and not speaking the language, like how do you even go out and do anything?
Yeah,
She was
that
just
is
like walking
really
around.
mad.
So then they moved closer to my dad's work, like pretty sharpish.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was under one, I think, and they moved to like extreme West London. And that's where we landed. And they still live there. They still live in Uxbridge. Shout out to
They
Uxbridge.
like it. Uxbridge is for them. Uxbridge is home.
Yeah.
Do they learn each other's languages?
My dad never learned Cambodian.
Okay.
Nice one,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, and neither did I.
Really?
I can't speak the language.
What does your mum speak to you in?
So there were words which I learned like when I was growing up, but she was so focused on learning English.
That's a hard balance because it's like she needs because
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
whatever you're speaking is the practice language.
yeah.
But if you really need to be learning English to be able to like live, that
She was like
takes
first thing.
precedence.
She was like, I'm gonna learn this language.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
be here. I'm gonna get a job here.
Obviously. Yeah,
So
yeah,
she
yeah.
was like when I was like I remember being like 4 and like my dad would like drive me and her to drop her off and pick her up from English lessons.
Cute.
So she was like I don't really remember her speaking to me in Khmer at all. Like I have none of that knowledge.
Sorry, I didn't know that the language is called
Khmer.
not Cambodian.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
so
no,
sorry.
I mean, it's whatever. It's
Is
not-
it the
it's not-
only language of Cambodia?
I think so. I think it's the main one.
It's the main. It's
yeah,
the
Khmer.
national.
Yeah, the national language, but it's only spoken by Cambodian people.
Have you been
Probably don't
back?
speak any.
The last time I was there was I was 9.
Do you remember it?
I do. It was my 9th birthday. They threw a party for me.
That's huge.
There's pictures of me. Well,
That's exciting.
I knew 3 of the people there. There were like 250 people there.
Wow.
My mum invited the fucking like everyone. It was just like,
yeah.
let's go get I met. There were like 6 other guys.
6 other 9-year-olds.
6 other legends. Just ripping it, like smoking, playing cards. It was crazy. And my whole mission for that birthday was to teach them the Macarena. And then we all did that as part of like a
That
performance.
is truly the international language, to be
Yeah.
fair.
That is a nice thing that 9-year-olds can share.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And then I got
Also, do this.
Oh yeah, I've never been able to do that. Yeah, I just knew you would be able to. A little bit of me was like, would that have still even been cool by the time you were
yeah, oh, for
done?
sure.
But obviously, that is the
We were
universal
going,
language
"That's
of boys.
sick, bro.
For our audio listeners, we're attempting to clack our
Finger-
knuckles
Finger
together.
click. Yeah, whatever that is. I don't
Yeah.
actually have enough. I'm not gonna. Okay.
You did well. We
Thank
all
you.
heard it.
Yeah. In the room, it's audible.
Yeah. Don't worry, we were impressed. It is
Yeah.
a weird thing, a cross-cultural experience when you're a child, when they are your family, but
Yeah.
I had a similar experience to that going to a wedding in Israel when I was about 9
Sure.
with my family,
Yeah.
but I didn't really know any of that family
Of
at
course,
all, and also
yeah.
I did not speak the language and
Yeah,
was just like,
yeah.
okay, I guess people are being nice to me, but
Mm.
I truly have not a fucking clue what's happening.
No, not an idea. And like, so there were some like cousins, like I guess cousins, second cousins, some like blood relative of some sort who knew English and would speak to me, and they were like a bit
That's
older,
cool.
like between 18 and like 24, they would like speak to me in English, and some of the kids knew, but like everyone under the age of like 15 obviously was just
Yeah.
Khmer, and we would just like point and do like hand gestures for communication. I had a good time. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed
nice.
myself. Yeah.
Also, at 9, easy.
Yeah,
You just
who cares?
play a Game Boy together.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Mooch around together.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something that I learned only last weekend that's a little related, but not at all?
Yeah.
But it's just something that is just knowledge now. So imagine you have a cousin. Can you picture that?
I can do that. Yeah.
And that cousin has a baby. What is that baby to you?
Oof.
They are your first cousin once removed.
Correct.
Oh, really?
Isn't that fascinating?
I would have said second cousin. That's what I would have
Your
said.
second
Second cousin.
cousin would be
Your cousin's cousin?
Surely not.
your second cousin is your parents' cousin's
Has
no,
this- has
your
this never
parents' cousin is your second cousin.
Has this never come up before?
All I know
I've
is
lost
that
it. I felt so confident on the first one.
all I know. No, I think a cousin's cousin is a
Second cousin is your parents' cousin's child. Is your second cousin?
Okay.
What about grandparents? What about grandparents' siblings' child?
I think that would go into third.
Okay.
Third
We should get a
cousins.
chart.
That would
You
be
guys
your
should have-
parents' second cousin.
You guys should have like a table
and your,
right
yeah,
here.
we should do that now.
And then you could be like this one.
Yeah.
Whoever this
If
is.
any
Humiliated that I
podcast
didn't
needs
have
to
it.
know about this, it's us. But all I know is that once removed is a revelation to me because once
Right.
removed means you're skipping a generation down.
Sure. So, because my dad's so old, they're the people I hang out with. They're my people.
The
On my dad's side, my cousins.
Yeah, your first cousins once removed are your
My
cousins
age.
vibe
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That
Exactly.
makes a lot of
Because
sense.
my cousins are all like
Yeah.
50,
Yeah.
like 2 kids each.
Full
My
adults.
cousins once removed. They're the ones.
So does your dad have a big family?
If you go a generation up, then yeah. But as far as he's concerned, it's just his sister and her 3 kids, and they each have 2 kids.
And are you friends with them?
I'm friends with all of those kids. Yeah. So
Okay.
the 6 of those first cousins once removed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's got the lingo.
We all hang, we vibe.
And they're your age.
I'm the oldest. And then it's basically like a 2-year gap between each kid, all the way down to like 15
These
now?
are your dad's sister's kids.
Yes.
So was she a lot younger than him?
No, she was like.
No, they are her grandkids.
They're her grandkids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because she just had kids.
And they're your age.
a
little bit younger
The
than you.
grandkids are a little bit younger than me, but they're my age.
Yeah.
Because it's the once removed.
Cool.
Exactly.
It
It's
shakes
the
out
once
in the end.
removed.
Then. There are like people
Yeah.
you know who you're related to. Who you.
Yeah. And they're my cousin's kids because my dad took so long having kids.
Yeah. Funny.
Yeah. But if you go a generation up, my granddad, who I never met, is the youngest of 6.
But he's from like the last century.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Well, aren't we
The-
all?
aren't we
When
all?
was
For
your when?
Tomato, potato.
Like the 19th century.
Yeah, I guess. But not. He wouldn't have been from the 18th if your dad was 1940, unless he was over 40 when.
What
you
if
had
he's
your
also
dad.
an old dad?
Was he an
Yeah,
old dad?
no, I don't think he was.
How many old dads are in your family?
Honestly, if we have every dude give birth at Al Pacino age, could
Yeah.
we have a child a century?
Yeah, because he's like 90.
No, Al Pacino isn't in his 90s.
Is he in his 80s?
Yeah, I'd say he's in his 80s probably. He's coming powder
He is
for
old.
sure.
I don't know. I would,
He is an old dad.
actors ages is like
Yeah.
the one thing I ask Siri for.
He's playing
Like-
90.
I'm always like, if I remember like, how old is that person? That's the only question I reliably trust Siri to like give me an answer
Yeah,
for.
but not you don't trust yourself to guess.
No.
What about your mom's family?
Um,
Also, how did your mom's family react to her just being like, I'm peacing out?
it's a weird relationship. I don't really know how they all vibe. So she's the middle child of 5 kids. And they all kind of got a bit jumbled, and they all kind of like lost each other a little bit during all that crap. Yeah. So like the parents just kind of like, that was it. They died during that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So
I'm so
like,
sorry.
yeah, it's kind of crap. I mean, I never knew him. For her, it's current for her.
Yeah, you can imagine. It's
yeah,
bad.
yeah, no, it really sucks
Yeah,
for
it's
her.
generational trauma as well.
Yeah. And so the oldest brother, I don't know too much about, like at all. The older brother is my middle namesake,
Alright.
but I don't know much about him. I don't really know a lot at all. Her younger sister, I do know, and I'm friends with her kids big time. We went to so they moved to the US. They moved to California.
Oh, cool.
Fun.
Now Utah.
Oh.
But when they were in California,
Wait, do they go to those dirty soda shops?
Do you know what those are?
I don't know what it is.
Because Utah has so many Mormons.
Yeah.
Instead of coffee shops, because they don't drink caffeine, they have soda shops. But they have these like fucked up sodas where you can have like Sprite with like coconut milk.
They
in
just
it.
like love to mix in loads of mix-ins to like huge
Like,
sodas.
yeah.
They're apparently doing this all the time. They'll put like creamer into a Dr.
Literally,
Pepper.
text your cousins and ask them if they've been to Swig or what their Swig order is.
Yeah, okay, I will do.
Swig
bet
is
they
like
do.
the equivalent of their Starbucks, but for soda shops.
But it
Yeah,
all
okay.
just does seem to be putting creamer into a Coke.
And syrups and purees. So you could put vanilla syrup or like peach
Wait,
puree.
but to only non-caffeinated sodas?
No, they do caffeinated soda. It's very confusing because some people think that coffee isn't allowed because it's caffeinated, but then they're like, some sodas are caffeinated. So a lot of Mormons still drink Coca-Cola, and then others are like, no, because it's a hot drink, but then they still drink hot chocolate. But I wonder if hot chocolate is considered a liquid solid like a soup as opposed to a drink like a coffee.
We are back into the longest running question of our
What the
lives.
fuck is this?
Is coffee a soup for literally a decade now? We have been
Scientists, the
discussing
greatest minds of
and
generation.
observing the discussion. One day, someone will look back over Olga Koch's full work history, and the only consistent will be once a year she poses this question.
Is it just a delicious steamy bean broth?
coffee technically soup?
Yeah, okay. If you want my 2 cents, coffee is bean broth and hot chocolate is soup. For sure, 100%.
It's a puree. It's a sweet pureed cream soup.
Yeah,
It just
100,
happens
yeah.
to taste of chocolate.
For sure.
Anyways, that's what Joseph Smith said. Is that the guy who started
Yeah, he's the Mormon.
Mormonism?
Yeah.
The Mormon.
He started the Mormon.
That's that
And
one.
I only know it because of the Book of Mormon, the musical.
Yeah.
But
Well, there you go.
yeah, Joseph
You
Smith.
live and you learn. So there's
So they live in Utah. Yeah.
That's fun. Have you been to Utah?
I haven't. I've been to California. I went to visit them when they were there. That was
Where
cool.
were they in California?
Yeah, in it. They
In
were,
it.
yeah.
Did you go to a city?
Hip and happening. Yeah. I landed in LA. Hopped off the plane at LAX. Yeah.
And then drove how far outside of LA?
Well, it wasn't too far. We were like within driving distance.
That's
of
fun.
Stuff. Yeah, it was really cool. And then we hung out. So I like know that family the best out of
That's cool.
her like siblings. 'Cause she's my auntie has 2 kids and the 2 boys. And when I was in California, we hung out a lot. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Are they sweet guys?
The older
boys.
one, like the sweetest guy you'll ever meet.
Great.
The younger one is somehow just a straight up fuckboy. Like,
Okay,
for sure.
cool.
Yeah,
One
It's
in every
California for
family.
you.
yeah. He's like,
Utah will sort him right out.
it's like the first time I met him, he was like 3, and then the next time
Already a
the
fuckboy.
next time I met him, he was like taking mirror selfies with just his phone in front and like floppy hair and
Oh,
like.
you can never
And he was like
understand.
biting his finger in an Instagram story, which is just like this corner of his face, and I was like, "What the fuck happened
I've
to
got
you,
a
man?"
fuckboy cousin who I don't know at all, but I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
You seem like you could be cool in your friendship group.
Um,
When you went to Cambodia,
Yes.
did you like it?
Yeah, I really did actually. I had a lot of fun, except for the time I got bit by a dog, like in the head.
Oh.
Oh God,
What?
Yeah. It was so we were staying with my, I
that
guess.
explains so much. I say this with love. Close friend James Trickey.
Yeah, we'll get onto what the implications that this had on my first year at secondary school.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
What?
Sorry.
No, not bad.
Oh my God, let's hear.
Hilarious implications. So it was like my uncle's. We're staying with my uncle. I think uncle. I don't know. He's just like some relative again. But basically, the way it worked apparently is that after all that shit blew over, all the houses in like Phnom Penh were like deserted, and people were just like it was like first come first serve. So they just like found a house and they were like,
scary.
okay, we'll have this one.
Cool.
So
Weird.
in that house he had a guard dog, and this is so lame. There was like a grasshopper / cricket in the house, and I was into bugs at this point in my
How
life.
old are you?
9.
Okay.
I was into bugs. I'd read a book and I was like, wow, they
Yeah.
have exoskeletons. And then I like picked.
Everyone has to have a bug.
I picked up
phase.
this like grasshopper cricket, and my dad was like, "Do you want to let it outside?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I like put it outside, and I was like kneeling, like on my hands and knees, like looking at it,
No.
studying it on the floor.
Oh no.
No.
And the dog like
You, like,
came
spoke the
out
dog?
and just like because the dog didn't know who I was, right?
Yeah.
The dog was just doing its job
James.
and like bit me like here ish
No.
Oh, James.
or here. I can't remember which side of my head it was,
Oh God.
but
I'm
it
so
it
sorry.
didn't like get loads. It just got like a little bit of like this my temple and like
Yeah,
a
but it's still bad.
bit
Being...
behind the ear. Yeah, I was shook up
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
horrible.
And then like went to like the doctors, got like a rabies jab, all that jazz.
Oh my God.
And I came home and I was like, I just want to play Club Penguin.
Oh,
That's-
sweetie.
That's all I want to do.
Make me feel better. A bit of Club Penguin.
But that was the only downside of that whole trip. The rest of it was sick. My 9th birthday went off. Oh, for sure, it was so cool.
Yeah, 250 people.
Yeah, and I didn't know
think-
any of them.
I don't know if I'll ever have a birthday with that many people.
No.
I never will. No
Bleeding
way.
from the head.
It was birthday was before the
Okay.
incident. But what happened is that I somehow convinced myself going into secondary school that I had dog DNA.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was like, well, I can bark really well.
Hell
this
yeah.
year 1 of secondary school?
Yeah.
You're going in. You've had your summer. You've been in Cambodia. You've
And
Peter
come
Barker.
back.
I've not thought about this.
You're barking
I'd not mentioned this for the whole of year 6. And then year 7, I was like, I'm going to reinvent myself
as a kind of dog guy.
as a dog guy. As like dog man. And
Okay.
I've got a sixth sense. That's a Labrador.
How did you spread the rumor? How did you set it up?
I didn't. I was just like, I'm part dog.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I can't. They were like, it was like week 3, and they were like, oh yeah, we're talking about stuff. And then I was like, yeah, I'm part dog.
Year 7s are the weirdest people on this
It was so,
earth.
and obviously, everyone else was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And then you were barking.
The kid
Yeah.
that was pretending that his dad works at Disneyland is like, damn it! Damn it, this motherfucker's part dog! I can't compete with that!
I used to lie. I just used to lie big time. Yeah, and that was quite embarrassing. And then obviously, like a few months later, I was like, yeah, what was I talking about?
Does anybody hold that against you? Because they should.
Yeah,
If I went to secondary school with you, I would not
You would
live that
remember
down.
that.
I
You
feel
would
like-
remember it
I
for
just
your
bring it
life.
up.
I feel like I've got like 3 friends who would definitely be like, I remember when you told me that story.
It's such a good little fib, though. It's a nice one.
But I had legitimate reason to believe.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what
you
I mean?
could be part dog if they like used a dog skin graft on you.
Yeah. Hair of
You're
the
thinking
dog.
was some got in through its mouth into your bloodstream.
That's what I believe.
Well, yeah, it's like
have you
Spider-Man.
seen Spider-Man? Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. I was like, well, the dog wasn't radioactive.
You got dog manned.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. I was like, oh, this is going to be a changing moment in my life. I'd watched so many superhero films. I was like convinced.
That's so good at sniffing ass.
Yeah, what are those dog qualities that came in so useful to you? Eating off the floor.
Telling your girlfriend that you're going to be so loyal.
We're really good at shitting outside. That was great. It was really nice. But Cambodia was cool. I haven't been back. I really should. But yeah, a lot of my family did leave, which
Yeah.
is like understandable, and I can get on board with that. But there are some people who are still out there. We had one of my I again think cousins came to live with us for like 2 years. She went to like university in London. She lived with us for like 2-3 years, almost like an older sister
That's nice.
at the time, which is really cool.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I really did. I got on with her big time. She's got 2 kids now. I met them in California. They're cool. They're like babies. They're just
Just little kids?
yeah. I'm just like
I
yeah,
want to know
what's
what
up,
their
man?
soda order are. Like,
Oh,
ask.
yeah.
You gotta
You
ask.
need to be texting your
I need to
cousins.
know. I need to know. Are they drinking
Every
Crema
Friday
Inca?
night, they're at Swig. You know they're at Swig.
I will ask them. I'll make a point to ask them. I haven't spoken to them for like 2 years. Just
Because
be like, hey, by the way,
why aren't men obsessed with Mormons? Do you know what I mean?
what?
Women are obsessed with Mormons.
Really?
Yeah.
Women are obsessed
Real
with
Housewives of
Real
Salt Lake
Housewives
City.
of Salt Lake City, Sister Wives. You watch
Also,
Sister
that
Wives?
new Mormon one, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Is
Yeah,
that what
that's
it's
the one
called?
people are obsessed with. Women love to know about
Well,
Mormons.
I guess the creators of South Park are 2 dudes, and they're obsessed with. They
That's
are
true. Maybe
obsessed
it is.
with
Yeah.
Mormonism.
The most I've watched is I watched the YouTube like series, which is like the Mormon Bachelor. That's what I watched,
Okay.
and it was like the most awkward thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But it's obviously hilarious.
Oh my god, nothing can be worse. Have you seen the Naked Love Island on Amazon Prime?
People have been talking about it. Okay, I need to hear
What?
more. I need to hear more.
Okay, it is exactly Love Island.
Yeah.
Like people turn up to a house and then they're just like in the house
Yeah.
making boring small talk. They're trying to like get
Get
off,
fingered.
get off with
Yeah,
each
yeah,
other,
yeah.
except they're naked from the very start. There's no like easing off of the clothes. They turn up, they're naked, they're all fully naked. Because they're fully naked from the start, there's no like, it's not really addressed at any point after that.
What?
They just are truly naked people standing around making small talk.
2 questions.
Please.
First of all, is it correct that I hear no bush on anybody?
No bush on anybody.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
also,
No, go on. Second question.
just like an inaccurate representation of the masses.
They're not representing the masses.
Are
They're
they
all
hot?
hot. They're Love Island. They're like they
Right.
would have been on Love Island, but they're on this instead.
But I'm just imagining like this TV show is just like The Sims. You know, like when The Sims, someone gets naked,
It's exactly
everyone's just like
that.
blurred out completely, and they're just
Yeah.
like hanging around.
They're
just
not
they
like,
blurred
don't-
though, are they?
They're not blurred.
oh, what?
Yes, you are seeing everything, but
Oh.
you just kind of don't like. It's neither here nor there because also it really is never being addressed ever. It's like
Are we
not part of the
seeing
format of the
a
show.
lot of breast augmentation.
They are young, all of them. They're like in their 20s.
Are we seeing boners?
No.
Are we
So
seeing?
I think
flaccid
sometimes
only.
you're seeing a little bit of a semi.
Are we seeing ball augmentation?
Are people doing that? How would I know if they had
Well,
a good surgeon?
Who's
They just have naturally perfect balls.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
am I to
getting
judge?
Fuck,
who's
those
getting
balls-
ball augmentation apart from people who had ball cancer? Who's getting it for
Cosmetic
aesthetic
ball
reasons?
augmentation.
Okay, I actually, I've
We're
wandered into
talking-
territory that I don't know anything
Do
about.
you think, sack too saggy, I want to tighten it
Yeah,
up?
that's what I would imagine. I would imagine like one ball hangs lower. Like, let's bring them up. Let's make it symmetrical. Let's
Oh,
have a
it's
good
too
time.
much effort. But if you're going on this show, probably that is the kind of thing people would want to.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's
Do.
some sort of like, maybe like a harness or tube that makes your dick straighter if it has a curve.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You just
Why'd
slurp,
you? Yeah, what the?
you slurp the cum like from a straw. What is that? What is this?
This has got to go. You should watch some of the show only because it is bad. Respectfully, I
Yeah,
would like to
okay.
work
But are
for
you just
Amazon.
looking at a completely naked girl saying, "I love your personality"?
Yeah, they're just being like, oh yeah, oh where are you from? Yeah, nice. You know what I mean? They're not talking about the fact they're naked.
Yeah, wait, I just like, how is it not just like, yeah, nice balls, man? Like, well, I don't.
No,
like,
they're
what
not.
else?
None of that. They were getting it on a little bit at the beginning. Like all of them, like some of them definitely like banged early doors and then deeply regretted it.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
could happen on any. Do you know what I mean? Is a bikini the thing that makes the difference between that happening and not happening? No.
Okay, I've got a question for you, both of you.
Yeah.
Okay, you have Naked Love Island on your plate. That show is happening.
Yeah.
You as producers, how are you using the nudity to set this show apart, like psychologically, from actual Love Island? Because clearly they're not
Totally,
doing it.
that's what they're not
so
doing.
what are you doing?
Here is what I would do. So first of all, they all like walk into the house, you know, and they're like da 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 da, and they all walk in and they're like, I'm Janice, I'm 23.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I'm
23-year-old named Janice. I believe it. I buy it.
Okay, while they're doing that, they're like throwing their clothes off
Yeah,
until
okay,
they're nude.
yeah.
Cute.
But I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I'd bring them all in fully clothed.
Right.
And then I would invent scenarios like stripped poker style scenarios where people, so there
You
was
want
an element of
titillation.
awkwardness. Because there's no
Okay.
awkwardness because they all
Yeah.
just come in naked and hot
Yeah, yeah,
and they're just
yeah.
like, we're nude, it's fun. But you want it to be like, there's an element of like, ooh, who's going to have to be naked first?
And who's really racked up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like drip feed it a bit.
Who's cheeked?
So it's like the challenges on Love Island, but instead
Yeah.
of like winning gossip, you like win.
Double D's.
Yeah. I think that would have been a better start, personally.
But then I'm just imagining a scenario where everyone's fully clothed except for one person, and that feels crazy.
Do you know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
is more interesting.
It is.
I
it
would
is.
also do a series of challenges where you're trying not to get a boner. So like maybe all the boys sit down on chairs
Yeah.
and then the girls do sexy dances, and it's like
Yeah.
the one who wins is the one who got the most.
Or
boners.
just trying
Or
to.
something random like that.
I've not thought about this. I've not
That's
thought about
what
this.
you like. No, but okay. This is where my mind went, which is like something where you're trying not to get your dick like trapped in stuff. You know what I mean?
It's like you gotta like spider crawl through like
Yeah, it's
a thing full of
that.
mouse traps,
It's
and
that.
it's like
It's that.
quickly.
That for me. It's the mouse trap. At
The
one point
floor
they were
is
riding
lava for
horses.
your dick.
Yeah. They were riding horses
So
naked.
much.
And I was like, that looks painful, and I'm more interested in that. Like, I want them to be like
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
date, but they're like, oh no, oh.
Chafing.
I want to hear about the chafing.
The chafe challenge?
I want the nuance of how being naked is a pain for them in their dating life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why,
Not just the visual. I
what
don't need the
disadvantages
visual.
do you have being naked on a date?
And
But I
love
will
the-
say, we did turn off the subtitles while we were watching it because at one point Ben was like, you can't really see their dicks.
Why am I watching this show?
What's even the fucking point? I would assume that, like, you know how they have, like, free shampoos and free conditioners and stuff?
Yeah.
I hope to God they have free thrush medication. Because, baby.
I know, I didn't. I
It's
was like, I wonder if
gross.
people are sitting
Yeah.
on towels. Even nudists sit on towels, is what I
Yeah.
hear.
Is what Siri told
That's
me.
the etiquette.
Hey Siri.
All right, we've veered. We've really veered from your family history.
Okay, yeah, actually, this is actually one thing I did want to bring up. There's
Yes.
like when I heard that there was a podcast about my family. There's one interesting thing about my family that I think I should air, which is someone in the family did like an ancestry thing, like classic. And if you go back, I think one above my grandfather, so my great grandfather, my great grandfather, it's either this one or the next one, is not my great grandfather.
Ooh.
So there were like six boys.
Yep.
My granddad
Yep.
was the youngest of six, and half of them have a different dad, and no one knew until like someone did some digging. I think it must have been one back because otherwise
Okay.
these people would have all known.
Oh, because I was going to be like, also the older half of the six, sporadically throughout the six. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Older half, as in like so. So what happened was after further investigation was that like because the day of the death of the person who was meant to be that man
Yeah.
didn't line up with the birthdays of like the next three boys.
Right.
So
Okay, so it wasn't like he was even pretending to be their dad.
no, he wasn't. He was dead. Like he was just
Yeah.
gone. But like we all assume like, oh yeah, we're all Trickeys. That's like how it rolls. But that woman, the widow, she had a lodger, and that man is presumed to be the father.
So that's
my great granddad. Or
So you're not a Trickey.
No,
you're the lodger.
I'm a McNeil.
Oh, so you know who the lodger was?
Yeah, they got the name.
Big reveal, James McNeil.
Yeah, his name is McNeil, and that came to light like when I was like 16, 17.
Because of a DNA
Because
thing?
someone was just doing ancestry. You know, you trace up the like.
It doesn't. Yeah, because you'd be like, how?
You're
how
like
is...
he's dead. How can he be mine?
And so this man's name was on like birth certificate.
Yeah. They would just have that man's name as the.
But they weren't. They weren't like married. Were they like?
No.
He just was a lodger in her house.
Yeah, is what was presumed.
And there were like a couple of kids there already, and they were like, let's just add some more in.
Yeah. She just had like 3 more kids, and they were like, we'll just on the birth certificate. It's just like, oh yeah, Arthur Trickey or whatever his name
And that
is.
guy just didn't care. He was like, whatever.
Not fast, yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, crazy, right?
What a
That's
mystery.
fascinating.
Skeletons in the closet.
How did it change your sense of self?
I did fuck me up a little bit because I've been known as Trickey like throughout my whole secondary school life. Like that was my identity. That's who I was.
Yeah.
And then to have that not
You're
be
like,
my
I'm
name,
a Trickey
it's like,
through and through.
oh shit, what?
I mean, Trickey's got more sauce than McNeil.
So much.
Apologies to the McNeils
So sorry,
out there.
McNeils. Yeah, my bad. But Trickey is obviously way more fun.
Yeah.
Trickey's a great name.
It's a bit, yeah, it's a laugh.
And I feel like the woman made that choice.
Yeah, she was like, actually, I'm keeping. They'll be my
was like,
dead
maybe,
But
like,
it was
husband's
her
my
kids.
kids
last
the
name
same.
too.
At that point, yeah.
It was her last name too,
Yeah.
so it was hers to give.
Okay.
So you are
Yeah.
a Trickey. You're just
Feminista.
a feminist version.
Exactly. And it's my dad, and also all of those men only had daughters or sons who had daughters.
Okay.
So in this branch, and my dad put this pressure on me from when I was like 8.
You're it.
He was like, "You're the last."
Wait, so even the real Trickeys and the fake Trickeys, you're the only boy?
Yeah.
Oh
Left.
my god.
I'm the last Trickey.
Do you want kids?
I'm on the fence.
I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy.
I mean, you have plenty to go to 57. Don't worry.
yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I've got years.
Yeah, you got a couple of decades in.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it yet.
But it's not even my dad who's putting the pressure on me anymore. He's like, "Look, I didn't want kids, so do what you want." But my mum's like, "How dare you be so selfish?
Yeah.
You are going to have a child."
She wants to grandparent.
She
ready.
desperately wants the grandparent. Yeah. So
Yeah, if she was working in an after school program, she loves kids. Give her a
Yeah.
freaking kid.
Hang on. There's time. But yeah, so that's the onus on me. But again, like I'm not gonna impose my last name on my partner.
How else could you make your last name proliferate?
Open a company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trickey no sons. As opposed to Trickey and son.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to find another way to make it famous if you don't want to do that. But
Why do you think I'm doing comedy?
It's true.
What
fair,
if
fair,
you
fair.
could do like maybe like I was gonna say either a sex position, the Trickey, or like a workout move.
Yeah.
You know how like a Bulgarian squat or
Yeah.
or like an Arnold press, because an Arnold press is this, and it was invented
Yeah.
by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
I'm thinking is
What is the Trickey?
what's the Trickey?
I could get into wrestling,
There we go.
Okay, it's a wrestling move.
like a wrestling finishing move.
Yeah.
Like a tricky.
Tricky me once. That's the name of your debut hour. Right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Do you have anything you'd like to promote
Thank you
to
so
our
much.
audience of 4 to 6 people?
Yeah, when is this going out? Do we know? Would it be like
Soon. Or eventually.
Okay. Well, if it goes
No, it'll
out,
go out soon. It will.
if it goes out soon, I'm doing a couple work in progresses. I'm doing another one on Halloween.
That might be far enough away.
Yeah, so that'd be cool at the Camden Comedy Club.
Very cool.
Otherwise, just follow me on social media, please. James Trickey, EY, Trickey, like TRICKEY.
EY is not the company
Not
that
the
he's an
company.
accountant at.
Screw EY, KPMG through and through.
That's the That's what the message he wants to leave with you. Have anything to plug? Yeah, keep it. Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This has been great.
Thank you for coming. A joy. Family Jewels is
A podcast produced by Ewan McAdam.
produced by Ewan McAdam. That's why it's going to look and sound really good this week. And the theme tune is by Ronan Shields.
Oh yeah, it is.
But I will say, good for you that one at a time, all of your boyfriends and ex-boyfriends are contributing to making our podcasting dreams a reality.
Goodbye.